Welcome back, everybody. This is Pima Community College, Culinary 150, Garde Manger. This is week 4, lab 2, and your assignment for the week, seafood sausage. We're going to start with 4 ounces of salmon. Now you need to remember that you have to pick out all the bones from this salmon. This salmon is already done, came with the skin on, and I cut the skin off. To cut the skin off, use a very sharp fillet knife, start at one end and gently go across. Pull the fish to you while you move your knife back and forth. It's the easiest way to get the skin off. So, we have our salmon. I'm going to cut this into smaller pieces in order to fit my mini food processor, and then we'll use the blender to finish it off. So, cutting these up into 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cubes roughly. Don't worry about the color on the back. It's all part of the salmon. So, I'm going to put this in my processor. This is going to sound like a 64 Pontiac pulls up in your driveway. There you can see we have our salmon chopped up. Pull the blender over now. I'm going to add this salmon to our blender. Of course, if you have the food processor, you're probably going to skip this step. So now that salmon is in my blender, I'm going to add 2 egg whites. In this container, I have 1/4 tablespoon of salt, white pepper, nutmeg, cayenne pepper, 1/2 teaspoon each. This is our seasoning. We're just going to pour it in. Now, you add our heavy cream. And this is something that you can't measure. You have to go by eyesight. So what you're looking for is a creamy, smooth mixture. As smooth as you can get it. Add more cream. You can see the salmon is quite smooth now. Now we'll scoop our salmon out of the blender, add it to a mixing bowl, Now I have added already the 2 tablespoons of green bell pepper, the 2 tablespoons of red bell pepper, and the onion. I've also included something extra, a little bit of diced cooked shrimp in there to get a little texture. We'll blend this, fold it together with our spatula. We'll get a piece of plastic wrap. Lay it on our cutting board. And now we'll scoop the salmon mixture into the center of our plastic wrap. All garnished, all seasoned. Right in the middle like this. Now we'll fold our plastic wrap around the salmon like this. We'll squeeze it together a little bit, form it, shape it, and we'll twist the ends. Now we get a sheet of tin foil. Put our sausage in the middle, and again, we'll fold it up, keeping its shape. Now this part might be a little familiar to some of you. We'll just twist the ends. So our sausage is shaped, seasoned, ready to go. Our next step is to poach this in some simmering water and let it poach. It should take about 15 minutes. Our water is almost to the boiling point now. Remember, we talked about quenelles. So, this is how you make a quenelle. You get about a half a spoonful or so. Take your teaspoons, form it into an almond shape, and just drop it gently in the water. Remember, our quenelles are used for either garnish on soup, or you could serve a few of them as an appetizer. These will gently poach. They'll float to the top when they're done. And we'll just keep forming them and drop one more in there. Okay. Now we have our sausage. We'll just submerge this in the water also. And you can use this little piece of foil on the end to lift it out when you're done. So let's put this back on the stove. As you can see, our quenelles have floated to the top, so they are done. We'll fish them out. And put our sausage back on the stove to finish poaching. Now this will also give us a good idea of how our sausage is going to come out. We'll break this in half, and you can see it's light, it's fluffy, and that is a good quenelle. You can cook these ahead of time, keep them cold, and finish poaching them right before service. So we let our sausage poach for about 15 minutes. We'll take it out of the water, and this was gently boiling, not a full rolling boil. Let's unwrap and see what we got. Now remember, we're just calling this sausage because that's the shape it's in. Actually, it's a mousseline. We talked about mousseline. It was discussed in your book. cut our plastic off. Now we can unwrap our sausage. And there it is. So, it's always best to use a serrated knife when you're cutting this if it's fresh out of the boiling water. So we'll cut some. Gently cut. We want to keep the shape of the medallions of the sausage. Cut them about maybe a ½ inch thick or so. Depends on how you want to serve it. And there's our seafood sausage or seafood mousseline. This is ready to be served. You could serve it hot, or most of the time it's served cold. So, our next step is to make our potatoes for our breakfast dish. Be right back.